What I want everybody to do right now is pull out a blank sheet of notebook paper and a pen or pencil, either one. Blank sheet of notebook paper, pen or pencil. Okay. In the upper right-hand corner.
Is that working? Yep. Okay.
In the upper right-hand corner, I want you to put your name. Your name. Upper right-hand corner. Very important. Put your name. All right. In a minute, when I pass out the research papers, you're going to put whoever you're peer reviewing right here in the center. You're going to put their name right there. But that's going to be in a little bit. So that's why I want your name on the right. Okay, I'm going to pass out the guidelines for the peer review. Look over it when you get it, and then we're going to kind of talk through what all is required of you for this. Look over it, get familiar with it. All right. So the most important thing is I know you would love to get a good peer review back. So you need to make sure to give a good peer review in order to get one back. So here's how we're going to do this. You start out and you read the essay. Read the whole thing, header, all the way down to the works cited page. Just read it. You don't need to start marking on it right away. Just read it to get a feel for what their paper is about. You may have written about animals in captivity, and your partner may have written about NCAA. So just read the whole thing, understand what they're writing about, and then we're going to make our evaluations. So right now, if you want to go ahead and make these subheadings, skip a couple lines in between, but write first impressions, introduction, body paragraphs, counter-argument, and works cited. You can use the whole front and back of the page for these subheadings. Make sure you leave enough space in between each one to give a really good evaluation. These are the 5 things we're looking at, the 5 most important things. No, you're going to be giving feedback, not over that piece. Okay, so the first heading, first impressions, this is what you're going to be looking for. The first thing you're going to do, write a sentence or two that tells the writer your first impressions after reading the essay. Just what are your first initial thoughts on their paper. Don't just say, it was good, or you have a lot of work to do. Give them some good feedback on what you actually thought of their paper. And then, now we're looking for more formatting issues. Does the text of the paper continue on to a 3rd page? So you're looking for the required length. Do they have at least 2 full pages with a little bit that's spilling over onto that 3rd page? So make sure they've met the page requirements, because that's something that we're going to be counting off for if you're not meeting the page requirement. Also, does the writer use any first or second person point of view? No I, no we, no you. Remember, we're not using first or second person. So if the person you're reviewing has those, circle it and make sure they know you can't have first or second person in this paper. Also contractions. Don't, won't, shouldn't, ain't, couldn't. Look for any sort of contractions and circle those so that they know they need to separate those and make it 2 separate words. Slang. Don't use any slang in the paper, any really informal language. This is a pretty formal paper. So make sure that you mark it if they're using some word like ain't gonna do this, no slang. It needs to be formal language. Just mark out any of these things and make it known that they need to change this. Okay, introduction. So now you're just looking at the introductory paragraph. Tell them what you like about their introductory paragraph. If it got your attention really well, let them know that. And that leads into, did they get your attention? Did they have the hook? So what are our 3 parts of our introductory paragraph? Hit. What is it?
Hook, information,
Say it louder.
hook, information.
Hook, information, thesis. So in that introductory paragraph, you're looking for those 3 things. Do they get your attention? Do they have a hook? Do they include general information about the topic without getting too specific? Do they give that information without using big lengthy quotes? No quotes in that first paragraph. So just general introduction to what they're about to talk about. Then this one's really important. Maybe circle this. Do they end the paragraph with a thesis that states their position and gives 3 reasons that they developed in their paper? Remember when I graded your rough drafts, I went and I just highlighted that last sentence, and that should have been your thesis. It might be a good idea to get out some highlighters when you're doing that and highlight that last sentence and make sure that they have the thesis. Animals should not be kept in captivity because, and then the 3 points that are going to be developed in the body paragraph. Look for those 3 points in the thesis. And then in the end, don't just say, this was good. Give them feedback on how they can improve. If it's a good paper, help them make it great. You guys could be the deciding factor between your partner getting an A on this paper or getting a C on this paper. If you really help give them good feedback, then that can help their grade and it'll help your grade too. Okay, content. Look closely at the body paragraphs. What are our 3 parts of our body paragraph? Claim, evidence, explanation. So look for those 3 things. Are they in that order? Do they have echo words? So that'd be another place where you can highlight. Highlight that first sentence of the body paragraph and then see if the words they use there are the same as the words that they use in their thesis. Look for those echo words. Does each body paragraph contain information from a required source? That's the 3 parts: claim, evidence, explanation. So they have to have that evidence in there. They have to have a quote in their body. Are the sources cited properly? So look at those in-text citations, the parenthetical citations, and make sure that they have those correct. Does it end with their own ideas? So that goes back to claim, evidence, explanation. Make sure the beginning of their paragraph and the end of their paragraph is all in their own words. And it bookends that quote. So they should not end with a quote or begin with a quote. That's very important. And then counter-argument. Do they provide a counter-argument and do they refute the counter-argument? So do they say, so-and-so claims that, quote, and then they're actually wrong because, quote. So look for that counter-argument in their body. And then we move on to the works cited page. This is something we're going to get very technical with them. Make sure their citations are correct, margins are correct, indentions are correct, everything like that. Are their sources listed alphabetically? Also look, if they have the Associated Press, make sure that's listed with the A's and not with the T's. Are all sources on the works cited page reflected in the essay and vice versa? This is very important. So if they have 5 sources in the bodies, they need to have 5 sources on the works cited page. If they have 8 sources on the works cited page and only 2 quoted in their paper, then that's also a problem. So make sure the amount of sources that they have in their paper are also the amount of sources that they have on the works cited page. There needs to be a marriage between the 2. Make sure that they're linking together. Works cited page and paper. Everything links together. That's something that's worth a lot on your rubric for the final papers. So that's a very important part. And then do all citations adhere to MLA standards? That's where you're going to get pretty picky and technical. And then at the end, go through it again and just be picky. Look for the little things. Look for misspellings. Look for capitalization problems. point out problems with, so any
Okay.
questions?
Is this our final, like, are we gonna do like our final draft after this?
Tomorrow, right, so you're gonna take all the feedback that your partner gives you, and just like you made the revisions that I put on your rough draft, you're gonna make the revisions on your paper tomorrow.
Type in my,
That's
it's
okay,
on my notebook.
this isn't for any sort of grade, yeah, yes sir. You're working on your paper down there. The research paper. What you did yesterday in the lab. Yes. Okay. So I'm going to give you now somebody's paper. Give them a good peer review. You should, if you're giving a good peer review, if you're filling out every aspect of this paper, this should take you at least 15 to 20 minutes to give a really good review. So think carefully about it.